standing match. So please let's welcome into the ring first. Here is the Jester, Jero!
Well, this is your main event of Pride and Glory. Our final championship match of the evening, the UKW World Championship, is on the line. Last man standing rules.
Last man standing rules. The heavyweight Jester, well, let's see if we can prove that tonight. Yeah, the heavyweight Jester. This all came about, Simon. I know you weren't here last month. This all came about in a one-on-one match. The Jester was taken to his limit, let's say, by Jonathan Cedric, but Cedric couldn't get the job done until the Forsaken arrived, took out both men, and Cedric was the first to capitalise on that. So it'd be interesting to see. Jero made the call, right? You still didn't beat me. Those two goons came out and beat me. The only way you can keep me out is to put me down for a count of 10. Be interesting to see if Cedric can do that here today. Jero looks mentally prepared, but as he recovered physically from the beating he took last month.
Five-time UK Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, the CEO of UK Wrestling, Jonathan Cedric!
And once again, to clarify the rules of this match, this is last man standing. No pinfalls, no submissions, no disqualifications, no countouts. The only way to win this match is to incapacitate your opponent until they can't beat the count of 10.
Record-setting 5-time champion Jonathan Cedric, also the owner and CEO of UK Wrestling. It'd be interesting to see what this Forsaken group is all about. For all we know, this could be a master game plan by Cedric.
A highly dangerous environment, a highly dangerous match. Last man standing isn't something that we see that much of in British wrestling, certainly not something that we see that often here in UKW. The lengths that these two men will have to go to keep the other one down could be lengths that they might not be able to come back from.
Yeah, interesting to see the game plan from the Jester. Last month we saw him try to wrestle Jonathan Cedric, and let's be fair to him, didn't really go that well. Cedric basically battered him for about half an hour. Let's see what happens here tonight, now that there's no rules.
Loser has to be incapacitated for at least 10 seconds. The winner of the match will become the UK Wrestling Heavyweight Champion.
Or retain the UK Wrestling Heavyweight Championship.
Absolutely, Jonathan Cedric 5 times has been to the top of the mountain, has held that championship now for a considerable amount of time. Can Jero unseat him under these last man standing rules? Well, we're off.
Jero flying out.
We're off hot and heavy straight away here. Jero taking it to the defending champion. You have to think, Lawrence, that's what he has to do. These are the sort of tactics that Jero has to employ.
Yeah, he's scrappy and tenacious. This I don't agree with. Letting Jonathan get back to his feet.
Absolutely. Leg lariat takes him down. And the first count of the match starts very, very early here. Cedric is rocked from the opening bell here.
But let's be fair to Jonathan as well. Like, he never saw the opening attack coming. He's setting himself in his corner. The referee called for the bell, and Jero pounced.
Cedric back to his feet. Whilst it was an intelligent way to start the match from Jero, you have to think that a man that's as experienced as Cedric isn't going to be kept down by a leg lariat or maybe even a clothesline. We both know, Lawrence, that Jonathan Cedric has a lot more gas left in the tank than this.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, Jero himself, much smaller, obviously has a smaller tank. That's how physiology works. It's a smaller human being. It doesn't have the same lung capacity. That being said, very, very rarely do you see Cedric on the defence so early.
Very good point, absolutely. It's been all J-Rose so far, hammering on the back of Cedric. Once again, no rules. As well as that, of course, the last match, the conclusion of that match had to take part in the ring. It's my understanding that last man standing, these two men can go anywhere, they can do anything. As long as someone doesn't reach a 10 count, that can happen anywhere in this building.
Exactly, we've got several areas that obviously the fans don't see. We've got downstairs, we've got upstairs, we've got the back room.
We've got outside.
Nobody wants to go into the Batley parking lot.
Especially not with this weather. Jonathan Cedric has managed to turn things around here. Has J-Ro in trouble in the corner.
This is what J-Ro needed to avoid. Last month, as I said, Cedric just battered J-Ro for the better part of half an hour. It was nice to see that at least J-Ro had some offense in this, but
monkey flip.
Now that
J-Ro over.
Now that Cedric's got the ascendancy, be interesting to see if J-Ro can get that back. I mean, we've got the use of weapons that we're yet to see in this match, but it's a question that has to be asked.
J-Ro using the ropes to pull himself back to his feet, breaks the count at 3 or 4, I believe. Interesting to know that neither man really have gone for anything particularly big. Early on in this match, Cedric hasn't gone for the super kick at any point. J-Ro hasn't gone for any of his trademark maneuvers. We've mainly seen clotheslines, we've mainly seen fists, we've mainly seen kicks.
I think J-Ro's looking for the element of surprise, wasn't he? Coming out with that opening early flurry. You can only assume that he's looking for something like the kiss of death later on in this match, the longer it progresses.
Back elbow takes J-Ro down.
It's interesting to see how the fans have changed. Well, last month, everybody in the building was cheering for the Jester. This month, they seem to be a little bit more behind Cedric.
Well, you heard on his entrance, J-Ro coming out. I don't think he's hugely concerned with the adulation of the crowd. He came so close last time to capturing the UKW Championship. He feels robbed over the fact that was snatched away from him. Much like we saw the Billingtons earlier on tonight, I believe J-Ro is coming to this match all business. But right now, J-Ro finds himself down the canvas, the referee issuing the count. J-Ro
slowly making his way back up. Again, I'm going to have to bring them up just because we saw them last month at Forsaken. Who knows if they're in the building? Who knows who they're aligned to? We saw them last month attack both men. Have they got an alternative agenda? Do they just not like J-Ro? Do they just not like Cedric? Are they in with another team? Who knows? Be interesting. I say interesting. I don't even think he's interesting. My money's on that somebody in this building knows what the Forsaken's up to.
Big belly to back suplex from Cedric to J-Ro. Everything that Cedric has hit so far has been very, very fundamental, very, very based in its execution, but very, very effective. And maybe it's the case of Cedric isn't going to look for just one climactic blow. Maybe he's just going to try and wear J-Ro down with these repeated offensive maneuvers.
That's what we saw last month. It was arguably a clinic, we will say. Cedric dominated the match from start to finish. And again, it's a testament, I guess, to Cedric. Like Jonathan Cedric's pupil. J-Ro's not trained anywhere else. He's trained here at UKW. So Cedric knows J-Ro's capabilities, his limitations. Under this circumstance, under last man standing, perhaps somebody like Jonathan Cedric could take advantage. Not saying he would, because it doesn't seem to be in Cedric's character.
Cedric now taking J-Ro up in the air, delayed vertical suplex, letting all the blood rush to the head of J-Ro, which of course, when he executes this maneuver, will make it harder for J-Ro to get to his feet. Hanging suplex by Cedric, and just the fact that J-Ro is Cedric's student isn't stopping Cedric from unleashing his whole arsenal upon him. There's no holding back here from Cedric, because he knows that his championship is on the line here.
It goes deeper than that as well. If you think about it, Jonathan's the owner of UK Wrestling. If he's beaten by a pupil, that puts them above him, not only in the terms of wrestling champion, like that's beating your boss effectively.
J-Ro now just deposited to the arena floor. Cedric may be looking to step up the physical violence here. Cedric has J-Ro down the bottom of the ramp. Big meaty forearm that we heard from all the way up here.
I'm struggling to see from where I am.
J-Ro up on the ramp, right next to
they are now, yeah,
the monitor, that's
the
for sure.
The monitor was
Cedric may be looking to finish J-Ro off there. He's got him up, going for a pile driver. Right in front of us, J-Ro is putting the brakes on, he's got him up in the air. J-Ro fighting his way out of it though. Desperation out of J-Ro more than anything else.
How's this feel?
Super kick catches Cedric right on the temple.
And obviously Cedric's own manoeuvre there employed against Cedric.
The referee now issuing the count right in three.
Realistically, he should be counting both men down. He's not doing, but
J-Ro needs to be very close to it. J-Ro needs to make his way back up to his feet as well, really. Up to his feet. Jonathan Cedric is still in this. J-Ro with to the midsection. J-Ro gets sent hard down that rampway.
And he definitely hit something at the bottom, whether it was the bottom of the barrier or one of
the metal framing that supports the ring. But either way, J-Ro is at the bottom of the ramp, and right now the challenger looks hurt.
Obviously, Jonathan standing tall at the top of the ramp.
Cedric now just standing over his company, standing over his challenger. J-Ro is having to use the ring apron to pull himself back to his feet.
Up at a count of 7 there.
Probably the closest we've had so far to a victory in this last man standing match. J-Ro is set face first into the canvas, into the side of the apron, and once again the count starts.
J-Ro using whatever he can to try and claw his way back up.
Absolutely, this time using the metal guardrail to pull himself to his feet, or at least to attempt to.
Now Cedric literally straight on top. As soon as Jester makes it to his feet, there's no respite.
Absolutely no breathing room at all for the challenger. Great point. He's got J-Ro hooked into the front face lock. The Jester trying to fight his way out of it though, manages to break the hold, gets Cedric in one of his own. Big vertical suplex on the floor, and that's a very important moment for the challenger.
We saw the exact reverse of that last month, and J-Ro never really came back from the suplex he took on the outside. Turnabout fair play, I guess. Now Jonathan's turn to try and regain some energy and get to his feet. The count at 5 already.
I'd just like to point out as well, Lawrence, that we still have some weapons down at ringside. Still the remains of the no-holds-barred match. If one of these men spy those weapons, they very easily could be brought into play.
Both men falling down there just shows how much energy J-Ro has had sapped from his body already. But he was the one delivering offensive maneuver there, and he's also collapsed.
Absolutely. This is nothing more than, I used the phrase war of attrition earlier on from the earlier bouts, but that phrase could not apply more than it does right here. Both men have destroyed each other so far. They've used basic wrestling moves, they've used their environment. I mean, they've been on the outside of the ring for a considerable amount of time now, and there's so much metal work around there. There's so many dangerous things that they could use. Right now, Cedric rolls the challenger back into the ring.
Cedric, you would argue, is probably more comfortable in the ring. He's more of a technician, more of a thinking man's wrestler, so to speak. He's not really into. There's the patented leg drop that we've seen him use to put him away so many people. So obviously, usually, that follows up by a pinfall. It doesn't follow by keeping the man down for 10 seconds.
I would say so far that Cedric's probably had the majority of this match just about. It's teetered back and forth a few times, but to me it seems like J-Ro has been down the floor more often than not. And the thing is as well is having to pull yourself back up to your feet so many times. There's nothing but expend energy.
Headbutt there to the shoulder by the looks of it. That's a second one, both men down this time. J-Ro straight back up. I couldn't quite tell from our vantage point. I don't know if that headbutt, the second one at least, appeared to land flush on Cedric's nose, which obviously we saw from Henry Winter and JPR earlier. A damaged nose can cause all sorts of trouble.
Absolutely. Cedric back up to his feet at 6. J-Ro puts him behind. Just a clubbing blow to the back of the head, and Cedric goes back down to the canvas.
You see that, the frustration from J-Ro as well. Screaming at Cedric to stay down. Obviously, that's the rules of this match, is to keep your opponent down for 10 seconds. A count of 10, I should say. That's the better way of saying
I'm with you. No, we're all with you. DDT drops Cedric down. Once again, the count will restart. I believe J-Ro spied that Cedric was starting to get back to his feet, pulled him back up to a vertical base, only to drop him back down face first again. Halfway to the count.
Just again, though, you said DDT dropping your opponent face first. If there's some issues with Cedric's nose, that prime thing to do.
Absolutely. Cedric back up though. J-Ro, slight air of frustration over the fact that Cedric will not stay down. Shoots him off the ropes. Big drop kick catches Cedric, and once again the champion is down.
He saw that maybe a second win there coming from J-Ro. Didn't just hit that move, he popped straight back to his feet. Might have heard me question his engine earlier. J-Ro though rolls to the outside. What's he looking for?
J-Ro, like you say, is retreated to the floor. Cedric is back to his feet. J-Ro is looking under the ring, it would appear, for something. Not quite sure what he's looking for. Looking for some sort of plunder. Well, I mentioned earlier about the weapons from the No Holds Barred match still being in the vicinity. He's got that no cycling sign. He spies Cedric. Super kicks it back into his face. It backfired on J-Ro. J-Ro was the one that brought the weapon into the ring, only to have it unceremoniously kicked into his face. I mean, Cedric has put so many people away with that super kick. You have to think using that coupled with a metal sign is going to do an enormous amount of damage to J-Ro's skull.
You are right with what you're saying, but obviously again, normally puts a whip. Oh, wait a minute. The Forsaken, Brent Newman and Big Bad Bish on the way.
Well, you mentioned earlier you didn't know if they were going to be in the building or not. They certainly are. And once again, going for both men.
I'm guessing that they've got an issue with these two.
Suplex on Cedric. J-Ro is on the outside of the ring. What is the deal here, Lawrence? What is the deal with the Forsaken? What are their intentions? What is their business? Why are they out here? And why are they targeting these two men again?
I wish I had the answers for you, Simon. It's strange that these two twice have come out and interrupted this exact same match.
Well, I mean, it appears to me that they've done their damage and they're just gonna walk out and they're just gonna leave.
I mean, what happens if neither man can answer the 10 count?
Absolutely, that's a great call. The referee's up to 5, and I mean, we can see Cedric down in the ring. J-Ro is trying to pull himself up to his feet on the outside of the ring. Both men are struggling though. The count carries on. Well, it would appear that this match is going to carry on.
I mean, it has to. It's last man standing. There's no rules. But I mean, Cedric there, just without hesitation, he knew J-Ro was coming. I wonder if this is a smart strategy from Cedric. Maybe get the Forsaken to run in.
I mean, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words because the Forsaken came in, they hit both men. They left them lying, but they've left again, and the match is carrying on. I mean,
as if nothing happened. Lunacy.
Is that the Forsaken done for the night? Do they feel they've accomplished what they set out to do? We don't know, because we don't know what they're attempting to accomplish. But right now, Jonathan Cedric is attempting to superplex J-Ro all the way from the top rope into the middle of the ring, and he does so successfully.
This could be it now for J-Ro. There's a high impact move. We've seen the Forsaken come out and lay both men out.
I mean, they did nothing more than inflict further damage on two men that had already put each other through hell. J-Ro is down, middle of the ring. The referee is up to 7. J-Ro is struggling once again. He's going to try and crawl towards the ropes to pull himself back to his feet.
Count at 9, but J-Ro is
very
up.
Close. 9 count, and J-Ro is once again to his feet. Cedric now has to think, what more does he have to do to put J-Ro away? He's got him up on the shoulders, running a power slam. Short run, snap down to the canvas. Well, I mean,
perhaps the sharpshooter.
Cedric, maybe like to soften those legs up. I mean, if so, that's a great strategy. If he takes the legs out of J-Ro, surely there's no way that the challenger can make it away from his feet.
Yeah, if you can't stand, how are you going to win a last man standing match? But let's not forget, this is the move that the Jester passed out to last month.
Well, he's got him in it, right in the middle of the ring. He's got him. I mean, J-Ro's tapping. There's nothing the referee can do. There are no submissions. But you have to think, Lawrence, the longer that hold is on the challenger, the less likely he's gonna be able to make it back to his feet. This could be a great strategy from the champion.
Just obviously, that's going to class as a moral victory for Cedric. J-Ro said, "You've never beaten me." We just saw clear as day. Then the Jester tapped out to the sharpshooter. Cedric circling
like a shark that smells blood, the champion. But incredibly, the challenger has picked himself back up, albeit by using the ropes, and he's still on his feet. Or I should say he's back on his feet. Which will got him up in a torture rack. I'm not sure what he's looking for now. A completely different strategy by the champion. I don't think I've ever seen Cedric employ a torture rack before.
Me neither, and I've been here arguably longer than most people have.
Dumps the challenger down. Almost a variation of a burning hammer there for the champion. The challenger now is taking a huge amount of punishment. The count, starts once again, and J-Ro has 5 seconds to get to his feet.
We saw that J-Ro looking around, but maybe the smartest thing for J-Ro to do is roll outside of the ring where he is, lands to the floor, he's on his feet.
Pulling himself up onto the apron. Cedric seems baffled that he can't keep J-Ro down. Good shoulder block through the midsection. Slingshots in, rolls him through to his feet, running knee strike, and that caught the champion right on the jaw.
Might have knocked Cedric out cold.
Well, I'm not quite sure about this strategy, Lawrence. Why the challenger is picking up to his feet, I'm not quite sure. Ripcord into an ace crusher, takes him back down. J-Ro perhaps maybe looking to put the final blow on the champion.
And perhaps they're looking for the killing blow. J-Ro thinks he's done enough to keep him down.
Absolutely, J-Ro proclaiming that the champion is down. Cedric barely moving the muscle here.
Count of 6, I just wanted to make sure where the referee was that he's counting.
Cedric, however, very close to the ropes. This time it is Cedric who is using the ropes as a landline, pulling himself to his feet. Lifeline, I should say.
Now both men, I'd say both men. J-Ro's clearly the one that's in the ascendancy at the moment, but trying to get some more wind into those lungs. Kick to the midsection. J-Ro now unloading boots to the midsection of Cedric, screaming at him, imploring the champion, imploring the CEO to stay down. And just choking the life out. Not very characteristic like of the Jester here. Maybe the championship not being able, championships do strange things to strange people, but it's as though this means everything to the Jester.
J-Ro seems almost manic, almost deranged in his approach here.
This count seems very, very slow all of a sudden.
Both men, once again, back to their vertical base. The last man standing match continues.
And J-Ro can't stand already. Look at him, he's out. Looks like he's out on his feet. Cedric, possibly the same. Obviously, he's held up, by the ropes. Now just stomping on the knee. Now J-Ro follows up with a kick to the side of the head.
Cedric lifts him on the shoulders. J-Ro slipping behind.
Looking for that Death Valley driver.
Not quite sure how much of that head kick J-Ro was able to unleash on Cedric though. Both men, this match has been going on for quite some time, Lawrence. Both men must be so weary and so worn out.
It's 30 minutes, I say 30 minutes, effectively TV time limit remaining.
Meanwhile, Cedric's got J-Ro up, takes him down with a powerbomb. perhaps the biggest defensive maneuver of the match so far.
We've seen Cedric use the super kick that we've seen him put many people away. You don't see Cedric bust out a powerbomb very often, but
right now he's thrown J-Ro onto the outside. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he's going for. He's got him hooked up. Maybe looking for a Death Valley driver. Maybe looking for a Death Valley driver on the floor here. This is a very... oh, wait, he's looking for a Death Valley driver on that rampway. He may be looking to deposit J-Ro onto the rampway with a Death Valley driver. And you heard the impact there. J-Ro must be done. That has to be it, Lawrence. That has to be it for the challenger.
Must be. Just Death Valley driver onto the stage, onto the ramp. That newly installed ramp.
What absolutely horrible landing for J-Ro. The referee is halfway through his count. J-Ro has not moved a muscle. We're up to 7. J-Ro still no life in the challenger. We are dangerously close. We're up to 9. J-Ro is still down. There's the 10. And there's the bell.
I'm going to call it out. Cedric had this ramp installed between the last show and this show. Maybe that was his game plan all along.
Possibly so. That might be a great call, Lawrence. Be that as it may, regardless of what the strategy was going in, both men just destroyed each other. And perhaps just as important, both men were able to rebound from that unprovoked and unwarranted attack from the Forsaken. Jonathan Cedric delivering a brutal Death Valley driver onto the rampway that finally kept J-Ro down for the count of 10. The 5-time UKW champion is still at the top of the mountain.
Jester trying to crawl his way back into the ring. We're going to have perhaps more words, or...
I'm amazed that J-Ro has that in him to be able to bring himself back into the ring here.
Obviously, we saw at the end of the last show these two shake hands.
Is that something that we're going to see once again here? It would appear that Cedric lifting the challenger back to his feet. A tremendous effort by J-Ro. Some people like him, some people don't. But a great sign of respect from the champion here.
Obviously, it took that Death Valley driver on the ramp. That's nothing I've ever seen Cedric. I don't think I've ever seen Cedric resort to something that violent, in all honesty, ever before.
J-Ro perhaps telling Jonathan Cedric that they have unfinished business. Be that as it may, Jonathan Cedric retains the championship in tonight's Last Man Standing. They put each other through hell, but they did it for pride and glory.